I wasn't planning on going out that night. If my friend hadn't pressured me into it, I probably would have just stayed home. But sometimes, the smallest decisions spiral into something you never see coming. What happened at that party still gives me chills to this day. It happened last summer when I was 22. I wasn't exactly the social type back then. If I ever went out, it was usually because my rowdy friends had guilt-tripped me into it. This was one of those nights. My friend Philip called me out of nowhere around 8 p.m. and told me about a house party happening a few towns over. It was spontaneous, but I had nothing else going on, so I agreed. I figured it would be better than another quiet night alone. Philip and I lived in different towns, so we decided to drive separately. He sent me the address, and I was on my way. But the second I turned onto the street, he texted me, "Can't make it. Something came up." Seriously? I was already there, parked outside a house full of strangers. For a second, I debated just heading home. But I figured I'd driven all this way. I might as well make the most of it. I knocked on the door and was greeted by Randy, the host. He was surprisingly friendly and chill, introduced me to a few people, and made me feel welcome. The vibe was way better than I expected. Despite being a stranger, people were kind and welcoming. There was music, laughter, and drinks flowing freely. A few girls even gave me a second glance, which didn't hurt my confidence. I let my guard down and dove into the night. As the hours passed and the drinks kept coming, I found myself getting pretty hammered. Around 2 a.m., I started feeling dizzy and nauseous. I needed a breather. I stumbled upstairs, searching for an empty bathroom, but every door I tried was locked or in use. The house was deceptively huge. Long hallways and hidden corners made it feel like a maze. Eventually, I found a narrow staircase that led to what looked like an attic. Desperate for some quiet and privacy, I climbed up. The attic was dusty and dark. I fumbled for a light switch but couldn't find one. There was a single window in the corner, so I opened it and stuck my head out, letting the cool night air hit my face. The breeze helped calm my stomach. For a moment, I just stood there, breathing it in. That's when I heard it. Footsteps. Above me, on the roof. At first, I thought I was imagining it, but the creaking of shingles confirmed it. I squinted into the darkness, trying to make sense of it. Then, I saw them. Two masked figures crawling out of another attic window onto the roof, each carrying bags. Randy's house was being robbed. Adrenaline cut through the alcohol haze. I froze, unsure of what to do. Yell? Run? What if they were armed? As I backed away from the window, my foot slipped and scraped against the floor, making a loud noise. One of the burglars snapped his head toward me. We locked eyes. He nudged his partner, and they both started heading my way across the roof. I panicked and ducked down. I needed to act. I couldn't let them get away with it. Randy had been nothing but kind. Keeping low, I followed them across the roof at a safe distance. They were heading toward the edge where a tree stood close to the house, probably planning to climb down. I reached into my pocket to call 911, but fumbled the phone in my shaky hands. It slipped and clattered loudly against the roof. "Who's there?" one of them shouted. Panicking, I looked around and grabbed the nearest thing I could find, a loose roof shingle. I hurled it in their direction. It missed, but the sound startled one of them enough to lose his footing. He tumbled down, slamming into the gutter and crashing onto the lawn below. His partner bolted, leaping into the tree and vanishing into the shadows. I stood there in disbelief, then heard sirens in the distance. Someone must have called the cops. I scrambled back inside and rushed downstairs. The party was still going strong, music blasting, people laughing. No one had any idea what had just happened. I found Randy and pulled him aside. "You need to call the cops. Your house was being robbed. I saw them on the roof." His expression shifted from amused to horrified. He rushed to make the call, and the mood at the party changed instantly. Word spread and guests started clearing out. The lights were turned on. When the police arrived, I led them to the injured burglar, who was still groaning on the ground. He was arrested, but his partner had gotten away. That night, I was hailed as a kind of accidental hero. Randy thanked me over and over. A few months passed. I didn't hear anything else about it until one night when I was hanging out at Philip's place. He got a call from Randy, inviting us over for a beer. The first thing I noticed when I pulled up to the house was how different it looked. The door, the windows, all replaced, reinforced. He wasn't taking any chances. We went down to the basement and cracked open a few beers. Randy remembered me right away and thanked me again. Then he dropped the real bomb. After the arrest, his family had started getting threatening letters. Some included photos of Randy and his relatives. Someone had been watching them. A few weeks later, his mom spotted a car circling their house at 1 a.m., and then items in their backyard started getting moved around. His dad responded by upgrading their entire security system: cameras, alarms, reinforced doors. I sat there stunned. I hadn't realized how serious things had gotten after that night. Randy said the guy who got caught never ratted out his partner, and that partner, whoever he was, clearly wasn't done. Summer's coming around again, and I'm half expecting to hear more when I see Randy next. That one night at a party I almost skipped ended up changing my perspective on everything: about safety, about choices, and about how quickly things can spiral into something you never imagined.